Hello everyone, I'm Sharon from Mental Lucky Visions, and this is an energy update for the week of March 11th through the 17th. So I hope this finds you well and that you're doing okay after that new moon in Pisces and the emotional space that we've all been through right now. I will say that Pisces is technically a very sensitive sign because it's very conducive with the element of water, which has a lot to do with our emotions. And because we're going through this Mercury retrograde period, also in the sign of Pisces, a lot of our emotions are getting kicked up in this phase. So you may feel kind of like all of your nerves are right on the surface. Your emotions, maybe feeling irritable. It can possibly lead to some depression, maybe some isolation. So just be mindful of how you're feeling. Definitely go with the flow of what's coming up for you, but also be careful to also take care of yourself and to have some healthy outlets for the emotions that are arising. And to not get stuck in the rut of depression because it can really take hold sometimes, especially in the Northern Hemisphere as we're reaching the ending points of the winter season. And I know, being a Northeasterner originally, what that feels like when you are in a really cold part of the country and you're just ready for that turning over of the season and that renewal. So it can feel like this very fine moment where you're just done with it. You're so over it, but it's also calling you inward still. And so within that space, a lot of emotions can arise, maybe some frustration. And there's some reflection on the past year as well, because Pisces is a sign that finishes off the final journey of the zodiac. It is the last sign of the zodiac, so it's culminating all of the other months together with it. Before we begin the first initial sign of the zodiac, which is Aries, starting in the later part of this month. So this period has its purpose. As I've said, we are definitely in a part of a shedding, a healing, a releasing. And the shedding of this skin that we're experiencing, as cliche as it may sound, is like we're shedding that cocoon so that we can emerge with these new wings that we have had. That with these new wings that we have so gruelingly earned after all that we have been through. So it is a very fragile time because the shedding can be uncomfortable, although necessary. There is this combination of all of this healing taking place right now. But it's also combined with this awakening, with this emerging. So you may feel in your life that there are situations that are bubbling beneath the surface that have this flavor of the new, that have this instance of being new opportunities and new beginnings and things that are being laid as foundations for what is to come. However, there's still this vibe of being stuck in the muck, of being in this holding pattern, in this holding space where all is uncertain, all feels foggy, still levitating in that in-between space. So it can feel kind of like a weird dichotomy right now because we are emerging, but we're also deeply, deeply healing. We're deeply shedding and letting go of all that we've been through and all of the entire last year. So just be patient with yourself as you're undergoing this sensitive space because it's preparing us for the equinox, the spring equinox, which is coming up. And that's on the 21st. So it's right around the corner. And the tides are due to shift come the 21st when all systems will be go. And our dreams will start becoming more tangible and solidifying fully as we move towards April. So this period has its definite purpose in allowing us to completely shed what's no longer needed for our renewal, our rebirth ahead. Because ultimately we are exactly as the seasons are doing, which is the winter is receding. The winter is being shed from all that was experienced in that inward, maybe isolating journey when it's very cold outside, and getting ready to have that rebirth of the growth of the earth, of the plants, of the flowers blooming. And so we're doing the same. We are one and the same with nature. And so it can feel like there is this very fragile space of before the sprout emerges from the dirt, before the blooms open. There is this fragile space of almost friction, because when you think of a blossom blooming, there is this inward friction that's happening in order for that to open and expand. In order for the growth to take place, some kind of momentum and heat is building within in order for it to actually occur. So think of it in this way, especially if you're feeling maybe some frustration that things aren't moving yet still. This is definitely a time to not force, because you can't force a flower to bloom, because you'll actually end up hurting it or breaking it, and it won't actually occur. So we're the same, that we can't force this outcome of our lives, because there's a natural organic process that's occurring right now, in line with the season, in line with the energetic signature of what's occurring for us and the planet at large right now. That there is a blooming, there is a stepping into our mastery that is arising beneath the surface. So try to go with the flow right now, not taking any bold actions to maybe push certain outcomes, to just be in the moment and to witness what's occurring for you. And as I've said in the last couple reports, just to sit with what you want to envision for the year to come, what you want to envision for this next phase of your life. And if emotions are arising, if you're finding that you're maybe a little depressed right now, try to get outside no matter the weather. Try to do things that are uplifting. Try to do something healthy that's going to allow you to emote or let that out in some way. Whether that is journaling, whether that is taking a salt bath to cleanse your energy field, whether that is light stretching and exercise to move that energy, whether that is eating differently, eating more healthfully, so that all the light that you're anchoring in will actually have a place to move through, to go to. Because the higher we vibrate with how we take care of ourselves, the easier that all of this energy and emotion can move through us. When we aren't feeling well within, when we haven't really truly taken care of ourselves, then it becomes a lot harder. It feels like the emotions, the energies can get stuck within in certain areas. And that's when some depression can take root. So we can actually be the governor of our own mental state. And even if it's very challenging, I know, because I've had my own journey with it as well. So just doing maybe a little step, if you're in that funky state, one small step towards taking a healthy avenue to help yourself uplift and get out of that space, or just being compassionate with the space that you're in, will start to move it. And then you'll see things a little bit differently. If you're just out in nature, you're walking, you're moving the energy. Because ultimately, depression, if we're having very lethargic feelings and sensations this month, is ultimately the old releasing. The old is moving out. So that's part of the journey as well through this underworld retrograde period and all of the emotions and sensitivities that are arising is actually the old leaving you. So anything that no longer serves you, whether that is emotions, whether that is energies, whether that is memories, whether that is situations, connections with others, all of this is kind of shifting and taking place. So just be gentle with yourself, because right now is maybe not an easy time as we're finalizing this and completing this journey. But there is a momentum that is building, and I know you can feel it. I know that it's bubbling beneath the surface, and our mojo is returning as we're undergoing this underworld journey, which is kind of ironic. But the way that the energy is pulling us now, it's definitely a forward movement of keep going. Keep going through this process, even if it's tricky, because on the other side of all of this is a brand new day, is a great new chapter. And so you can't give up now. You've got to keep going, and it's going to be okay. The light is at the end of the tunnel for all of us, and spring is just around the corner. So think of the 21st as arising soon, and April will definitely be a very new month for all of us as we have put past us these first 3 months of integration, purging, releasing, healing, and ready to start a new chapter. So I hope that this finds you well and that you're hanging in there. It's going to be a smoother road ahead. If you want to learn more about Entelechy Visions, you can find more information at entelechyvisions.com. You can book remote or in-person sessions in Arizona with me there. Or if you have any questions, feel free to contact me there as well. Thank you for listening, and have a beautiful day.